In February 2026, Tesla did something nobody expected. Not a new model reveal, not a robotaxi update, not another Optimus demonstration. They cut the Cybertruck's price by $20,000. And within hours, the internet called it a win. But here's what almost nobody is talking about. That price cut doesn't just change what the Cybertruck costs, it changes what Tesla is admitting. And once you see this story from that angle, the whole thing looks very different. Let's go back to where this started. Not 2026, not even 2024. 2019.ELON, Musk stands in front of a stainless steel machine that looks like it fell out of a science fiction film. The crowd is stunned. The windows crack during the demo. And Musk, completely unfazed, tells the world this truck will start at $39,900. $39,900 became part of the mythology. It was the promise that made ordinary people believe they might actually own one. Someday, that number is now gone completely, and in its place. Tesla just announced $59,990 as the new affordable option, a figure that is $20,000 higher than the original promise. Being celebrated as a $20,000 discount, that's the tension at the center of this entire story. And it only gets more complicated from here. Because on the surface, the February 2026 announcement looks strong. The dual-motor all-wheel drive Cybertruck at $59,990 keeps the things that matter. A 123 kilowatt-hour battery pack. EPA estimated range of 325 miles. 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. Dual motor, AWD, with real-time torque distribution. Steer-by-wire. Four-wheel steering. Power share. The stainless steel exoskeleton that made the world stop and stare. Back in 2019, what you lose is the air suspension, the rear display, and roughly $20,000 off the previous $79,990 premium AWD version. On paper, it reads like a reasonable trade, a calculated simplification that gets the truck in front of more buyers without gutting the engineering underneath. But this only matters once you understand what Tesla is actually competing against. And this is where the story starts to get uncomfortable. A standard Ford F-150 still starts at around $39,000. With dealership incentives, many buyers walk away paying even less. That's not a footnote. That's $20,000 sitting between the Cybertruck and the most popular vehicle in American history. For a contractor financing a work truck, for a farmer replacing aging equipment, for a construction crew that needs a reliable bed and a trailer hitch, $20,000 isn't a rounding error. It's years of monthly payments. And yet, if you shift the comparison slightly, if you line the Cybertruck up against the Ford F-150 Lightning's higher trims, which routinely approach $70,000 before incentives, the math starts to flip. Suddenly, $59,990 with 4.1-second acceleration and a 325-mile range starts to look like a serious value proposition. So which comparison is Tesla making? That's the question the company is quietly betting on. They're not going after the $39,000 gas truck buyer. They're targeting someone who was already considering a premium electric pickup and needs one more reason to choose the stainless steel option. But there's a ceiling on that strategy, and Tesla knows it. The towing number is where it gets honest. The dual-motor AWD version is rated at 7,500 pounds. That number is described in Tesla's own materials as sufficient for most civilian needs. And technically that's true for a boat, a small camper, a landscaping trailer. But previous Cybertruck variants claimed up to 11,000 pounds. And many traditional F-150 configurations can haul 10,000 or more. In a market where towing capacity is almost a cultural statement, where what you can pull is tied to identity, profession, and pride, dropping to 7,500 is not a neutral engineering decision. It's Tesla quietly redrawing the line of what counts as a real truck. Not because the engineering failed, because the strategy shifted. The Cybertruck is no longer trying to win the hauling war. It's trying to win the daily driver war. The commute, the weekend, the job site that doesn't involve a fifth wheel, that's a legitimate market. It might even be a smarter one. But it is a different promise than what was made in 2019, and somewhere in the back of every potential buyer's mind, that original promise is still sitting there, quietly, waiting. Now let's talk about the software layer, because this is where Tesla's real ambition lives, and where the business model just changed in a way most people haven't fully processed yet. FSD version 14.2 launched alongside this pricing announcement, and the updates are real. The Neural Network Vision Encoder has been upgraded to handle higher resolution processing. Emergency vehicle recognition is sharper. The system responds more accurately to road obstacles and even human gestures. Phantom braking, one of the most complained about behaviors in earlier versions, appears significantly reduced. Pre-selecting parking preferences before departure is now possible, meaning the system adapts from the very first moment you pull out of your driveway. These aren't cosmetic changes. For anyone spending 30 to 60 minutes in traffic each day, a system that handles lane changes more smoothly, yields to emergency vehicles more naturally, and stops second-guessing intersections that changes the experience in a way that accumulates quietly over weeks and months. But here's the detail that will define Tesla's next chapter. More than any spec, SHEETFSD can no longer be purchased outright. The one-time payment option is gone. In its place, a $99 per month subscription, every month, ongoing, indefinitely. Tesla just turned its most ambitious product into a service. Think about what that means. You finance the truck. You subscribe to the driving software. You are, in effect, renting the experience of autonomous driving month by month. While owning the hardware underneath it, Americans are comfortable with subscriptions, streaming services, phones, cloud storage, but there's something psychologically different about subscribing to your vehicle's ability to drive itself, because the implied trade is time and attention. You pay, and in return the truck handles the commute. You pay, and you get those hours back. But FSD 14.2, despite its genuine improvements, still occasionally selects inefficient routes, still requires driver attention at all times. Tesla's own messaging now explicitly emphasizes that the driver must supervise the system, a shift in language that followed significant legal pressure in California. Still has moments where it hesitates at intersections or makes detour decisions a human driver wouldn't dot. So the real question underneath the subscription model is this: at what point does FSD deliver enough autonomy that $99 per month feels like an obvious yes? And how long will subscribers wait for that moment to arrive? That question doesn't have an answer yet, and Tesla is asking you to pay monthly while it figures it out. Here is the number that changed everything internally at Tesla. Not $59,990, not $99 per month, 20,000. That's the estimated number of Cybertrucks sold in all of 2025, against projections that once stretched into the hundreds of thousands, against reservation lists that reportedly approached 1 million, against a launch that generated more global attention than almost any vehicle in automotive history, 20,000 units. That gap between the mythology and the reality is what explains every decision Tesla has made in the past 12 months. The $15,000 cut to the Cyberbeast, the removal of the no resale clause that once locked buyers in for a full year, the elimination of the Lux package, the stripped-down interior. The shift from premium to practical. Tesla isn't lowering prices because it won. It's lowering prices because the scoreboard doesn't match the story it told. And to its credit, the company isn't pretending otherwise. The 10-day pricing window, designed to test demand, measure response, adjust accordingly, is dynamic pricing used openly and deliberately. It's an admission that Tesla no longer knows exactly what this truck is worth to the market. So it's asking the market to show them that kind of honesty, even when it's embedded inside a marketing strategy. Is worth noting, but zoom out further and a deeper shift becomes visible. The original Cybertruck was a provocation, a cultural object, a truck designed to make you feel something before you ever sat inside it. The stainless steel panels, the angular geometry, the shatterproof glass that shattered on stage, every element, including the failure, felt intentional, theatrical. Designed to generate conversation that money couldn't buy, that version of the Cybertruck is fading. What's replacing it is a vehicle with removed premium seating, reduced towing specs and lower trims, stripped convenience features, and a price that prioritizes monthly payment accessibility over brand mythology. The Cybertruck is being repositioned quietly, without any formal announcement, from cultural symbol to practical tool. That is not necessarily a failure. The most successful vehicles in American history aren't symbols, they're workhorses. The F-150 didn't dominate for 4 decades because it was beautiful. It dominated because it showed up, did the job, and didn't ask you to believe in anything. Tesla may have finally understood that. The 4680 structural battery, the steer-by-wire precision, the power share capability that can run a home during a blackout or power tools at a remote site, that's genuinely useful engineering. Not useful in a brochure. Useful on a Tuesday morning when the power goes out